Welcome to episode 4 of the Pocket CI podcast. I'm your host, John Schaefer. And today, first off, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, you're finding some value in these podcasts. And if there's ever anything that you want me to cover, anything that you want me to talk about, just DM me and let me know because I'm happy to make these episodes. I'm going to talk about things that I find interesting or that I think would be useful. But at the end of the day, if there are things that you want to hear more about or listen to me talk about long form, I might do something where it's like Q&A too at the end of each episode is something that I've thought about too, just to get you guys more involved because I know a lot of you like the short form content consuming there, but some of you have also requested that I do more long form. So I want to make that available as well. But today we're going to talk about something I talk about all the time because it's been so crazy for me, my journey on social media. I never thought that it would impact me in some of the ways that it has. And a lot of questions I get are like, I'm a student. I'm not sure if I should be posting on social media. Like, I see so many people being like student influencers, new grad influencers, or like people who are just posting about, different areas of injury. So we've got, people who post about knee pain, people who post about back pain, people who are making businesses out of social media, who are doing social media instead of practicing in person. And then there's a whole monetization side of things as well. I've done just about everything you can imagine within the social media world over the last 5 years, starting when I was a student. So I want to just walk you guys through what it's like to start posting on social media if you're questioning whether or not you should, my thoughts on, how it can impact your life as a student and as a physical therapist after you graduate. But we'll just start by I'll share a little bit about what my journey's been on social media, some of the ups, some of the downs, and then I'll give you guys some takeaways if you want to possibly get started yourself. So I started posting on Instagram back in I think it was 2021. I was on a clinical rotation in Ohio. I was bored out of my mind, and I decided that for whatever reason I wanted to start posting orthopedic content. So I started off just like reading through my textbooks. I learned about a condition. I'd post about it. If there's any research articles related to it, I would post those. I don't really think I had any kind of an end goal in mind. I was like, let's see if what I'm posting about myself, like if it draws anyone in or anyone thinks it's interesting. So I started getting some followers and started making some connections. But the things are, I wasn't posting anything that was groundbreaking. I was just posting things that are already out there. Like there's a million different accounts and a million different ways you can consume orthopedic information. Like what's the point of me posting? Was at least a thought I had. And that account was called Ortho Snacks. So it was supposed to be bite-sized information about orthopedics. And after I had talked or after I'd been posting for a little while, maybe a couple weeks, I started realizing that there were a lot of physical therapists or people in the health and wellness space who are doing really cool things, and I wanted to talk to them. So I started DMing people. And I was like, "Hey, like your page looks really interesting. Would you be up for hopping on a quick call?" The calls started just over the phone, and then eventually it transitioned to doing Instagram lives where I would write out questions. I would have my guests answer those questions. We had people talk about like I don't know, some of the basic stuff, so like travel physical therapy. Then I had people talk about, more niche situations like working with equestrians, horses, people who travel with celebrities and provide like one-on-one care there, people who have online businesses, people who have in-person practices, people who are touching different areas of physical therapy because it's so broad. It's not just rehab, it's health and wellness, um, strength conditioning. And what I realized was I was less interested in posting orthopedic content and I was more interested in learning what opportunities were out there for me post graduation because I felt during this time I felt a little bit trapped by thinking that I was going to have to work in a clinic for the rest of my life without having quite as much flexibility or even the chance to chase something different that was maybe more in tune with whatever my interests are. So I found people who chased their passion, found interesting things. And so I hosted that on Instagram Live. I think I did like 30 of them. This started while I was on rotations, which was fine because I was kind of isolated. But the second I stepped back on campus coming back from that rotation, I wasn't even that big at the time, and I'm not very big now still, relatively speaking. But I had maybe 400 followers. And I don't know. I didn't get a lot of positive support from my classmates. It was kind of like, what's this guy doing? Like they would call me Ortho Snacks. I no longer was known as John, so that was kind of annoying. Um, and even on rotations, like some of the instructors that I was working with at the clinics would like slam students who are posting exercise content or posting different things online. They're like, "Yeah, these kids are trying to become influencers." Almost like talking down on anyone who wants to post, anyone who wants to put themselves out there. And even just hearing that was kind of like, all right, like is that what I am? Am I becoming a student influencer? I don't think that was ever necessarily the goal. The goal was getting more information for myself, finding that information valuable, and thinking that other students might benefit from it as well. So it was less about recreating content that people could find elsewhere and more like opening the door, exposing people to different opportunities within the field that they might not be learning in PT school. So that's how everything started. And then I graduated, um, after I graduated, I started seeing all these different ads for online coaching opportunities where you would sign up to work with a coach, work with a mentorship group, and they'd help you find a niche and develop a business where you could coach people remotely. So from your laptop, you could prescribe exercises, you can prescribe wellness plans. All this is under the guise of wellness, and they would always say it's up to you for your risk tolerance. There's a lot of people with less certifications, less qualifications, doing a lot more online. So that was just kind of a caveat headed in. But I ended up treating or working with cyclists and endurance athletes, specifically those with knee pain. And for this specific program, I think I paid $5,000 or $6,000 to work with this mentorship group. And this was over the course of, gosh, I don't know if it was 3 months or 6 months, but there were daily calls and support, and there was a asynchronous program you went through. And then, so I made an Instagram account for endurance athletes who are dealing with knee pain. And kind of the sequence that goes through here is you post a lot. You're posting content related to that, and you're hoping to gain a following. And then you start DMing your following, connecting with your followers, hopefully getting some of those followers on a call. And then once you get them on the call, the sales call, you do a brief evaluation, let them know how you can help them, and then you'll drop your pitch at the end. So I was learning a lot of sales, I was learning a lot of marketing. I didn't love the posting every day. But there were people in this group who were making all kinds of money. They weren't working in the clinic. They had a lot of freedom. So I think like at that specific time, I was like, if I could just get this business off the ground, then I'm gonna be set. I'm gonna have all this freedom. I'm making all this money. It's gonna be super easy. But there were a lot of challenges. I was doing this during my residency year. I think I want to say I had maybe 15 or 20 sales calls, and we would practice sales calls within the group too, practicing your script, all that good stuff. But I think I want to say I signed maybe one or two clients, and the clients, what we would sell is most people were selling like $1,200 to $2,000 packages for 3 months. And so you'd have an exercise library where you're performing all these different interventions, and let's just drag and drop into their program, and they get everything on their phone. They can go through the program, ask questions, things like that. So I did that for 2 years, and I did that with two different coaches. There's another coach I worked with who I paid around $6,000 to work with for 3 months. I saw a better return on that. I think by the time everything was said and done, I maybe made $8,000 or $10,000 um, in the online coaching space. But what I think a lot of people expect is all of a sudden you're gonna be making all this money, things are gonna be super easy. It's not gonna have as many challenges as working in clinic, freedom, flexibility, like all that good stuff. And while that can be true, there's a lot of other challenges and a lot of other things that people aren't considering. So you got to get really good at sales. You got to be comfortable on sales calls every single day. You got to show up to market your business. You got to show up creatively for your content. You have to film, record all these videos if you're describing different things. And it got to be for me something where I wasn't necessarily enjoying it as much at the time. And I realized that there were just as many problems here as there are potentially working in a clinic. So I took a break from that. And then I All the while I was doing all this online stuff, different ventures in terms of education, in terms of actually working with clients, I was writing down a lot of what I was learning. So through the residency program I did, I wrote a ton. I wrote down everything I was learning from mentors, things people were saying that made sense, ways that people were describing conditions, their examination flows, and also conversations they were having that I didn't hear while I was in PT school. So again, I kind of got back to that space of I like to create awareness of different opportunities in the field, different conversations in the field, different things that I wish I would have heard sooner that would be super valuable to hear and know as a student. So I'm writing in the morning, I'm writing at night, I'm compiling every last bit of things that I think are important or valuable, and I'm putting them together in a field guide, essentially, um, called the Pocket CI Playbook at the time. So I started writing this while I was in PT school, while I was doing the Instagram lives, talking to different people, and put it away for maybe a year, year and a half, then got back to it. And I started writing, writing, writing. And as I was learning more, I was writing more. And by the time I graduated, like 5 years had passed, graduated the residency program too. Um, and I revisited this and I said, okay, like I got to finish this guide now. I've got so much great information here. Like I want to get it out. So the guide was complete. It was sitting there, but I didn't know what to do with it. And so it sat there for another probably 6 months to a year. And then I finally decided, the easiest, the quickest way to get this out there is going to be to start making short form content that so many people are consuming. And so that's why I created the Pocket CI on TikTok first. And so I started recording videos directly from this field guide just because I was like, I don't care what happens, this information needs to get out there. I'm not going to be happy unless I've put this thing out there for the world to see, for any physical therapist to see. I want them to have this information because on clinic rotations, and even during my residency, like some of your mentors are awesome, others of your mentors you just don't get along with as well, or they don't seem like they're as involved. And I wanted to standardize clinical education across the board, and I still do. That's my goal. So I started posting on TikTok. I started posting 10 times per day the first week. Started gaining a little bit of traction, dropped down to 5 posts per week, then 3 posts per week. And by this point, now as I'm filming this, 8 months have passed and I've filmed like 750 videos. And one thing I will say is if you start recording a lot of videos, like the first couple of videos you're recording, but oh my God, I can't listen to myself. I can't watch myself. This is brutal. I can't hear my voice. Like I don't want any of this. But what you'll notice is over time you almost become desensitized to it. You get better at compiling your thoughts in an organized way. And it doesn't become a big deal at all. I still remember the first couple times I was like practically shaking recording, but now it's something that I really enjoy. Um, and so how that's transitioned now is my entire focus is getting the Pocket CI information out. It was originally a field manual, now it's a course, a set of 6 different lessons, 22 modules, everything I wish I would have known as a PT student, everything you need to get through clinical rotations, um, and really everything, like I said earlier, that you're expected to know in the clinic, but you're not taught in PT school. So I spent a lot of time on this, again, 5 years, everything that I've learned. So that's still the goal to put that out there. And but now it is, just full transparency, it's part of a business for me, an educational business. So I've taken a lot of what I've learned. I want to help a lot of people. I put out a lot of free content, but I'm also, starting to make a little bit of money for this. And hopefully, the more money I can make from it, the better things can get. Production can get better, the value can get better, all of that can get better when I have access to more resources. So that's just the physical therapy side of things. But I guess I will also say every job I've ever gotten has been a result of Instagram or TikTok. This might sound crazy, but the residency program I got involved in was because of a mentor that I had met on or been connected with on Instagram. Chatted for a while. I found out he did this residency program, and next thing you know, I decided to do that residency. I also had the chance to do a strength conditioning internship at Champion PT and Performance in Boston because I got an ad on Instagram. This was like I don't know, 11 o'clock at night, I'm scrolling through my phone and I see that this application's due tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, I'll throw my name in the hat, see what happens. Next thing I know, 3 months in Boston working with a lot of my idols within the strength conditioning uh, side of things and the physical therapy side of things, brushing shoulders with the people that I really look up to. And then the next thing, after the residency, I see a job opening with the prehab guys. I'm like, this sounds like a really cool opportunity. I'm gonna again apply, throw my name in the hat. Didn't end up getting the job. Things didn't end up working out, but I advocated for myself and I was like, hey, I really like to write. Can I contribute to your content creation, your blogging? So I was able to do that for a couple years, all because, again, social media. And I had interviewed um, Adele, who's one of the members, and earlier on, so I already kind of had that connection. And then fast forward to my job in Denver was a guy I met on Discord. He's like, because I sent him the job contract. He's like, hey, this contract looks familiar. Why don't you send me a message? And sure enough, he worked at that company. He was like, yeah, like it's a solid company. Let's link up when you're in Denver. So that was, my Denver job. And then when I moved to Hawaii, I'm gonna say I don't think I had any connections in Hawaii, but when I moved to San Francisco, my current travel contract was because of someone that I had met and kept in contact with on Instagram, and he let me know that he was on contract out here, really solid contract, pretty cushy job, to be honest. Paid very well, and so that's how I got this job. And then friendships and relationships on Instagram, just posting like workouts. What happened was someone scrolled up on one of my workouts, said, hey, I'm a traveling physical therapist. I'm looking to move to Denver. What gym is this? I sent her the name of my gym, and the next thing I know, we're going on hikes together. She's still one of my best friends to this day, all because of social media. And then in Hawaii, one of my best friends in Hawaii, we met on TikTok because I posted a TikTok and she said, hey, like, I might be coming to Oahu. And, so things just tend to spiral, things tend to develop when you put yourself out there. If you have some sort of a digital footprint, you're able to reach so many people. So as a physical therapy student, um, just having some kind of trail of like, hey, here are some things that I believe in, here's who I am, this is what I'm doing, these are what my interests are. And it can be as simple as, you don't have to post every single day. You can post once a week, update, what you're doing, what's happening. Um, because you never know. All it takes is one connection, all it takes is one conversation, and you don't know what's going to happen or what's going to become of it. But you have to put yourself out there so much that it's impossible for the right people not to find you. Um, I just think the more that you talk about the things that interest you, the more that people are able to see who you are, what you care about. Like you just become a magnet for other people who align with and believe in the same things that you believe in. And again, those connections can go so far. So I know it can be intimidating as a PT student. You might get a lot of backlash from classmates. You might have people questioning you. You might have people saying, why are you doing this? Like just be a PT student. But I think it's so beneficial for so many reasons to at least have some sort of a digital footprint that you're building. Obviously, be smart about what you're doing, be smart about what you're saying, especially as a student. But the opportunities are endless when it comes to the online space. And I really, really would highly advise you try and get involved in some capacity because it's going to open so many doors, create so many opportunities. Um, so I can't recommend it enough. I would say it's been one of the biggest factor in how my career's shaped out up so far. If I hadn't ever posted online, I'm not really sure. Honestly, I'm not really sure what I would be doing or where I would be. But I would imagine there's a lot less people I would have met, a lot less opportunities I would have had to have a lot of really, really cool experiences. If you're not sure where to get started when it comes to social media, we can have a conversation. I'm happy to provide any advice. I'm not going to charge you or anything like that. But yeah, feel free to reach out. You can always DM me and we can talk about some of the stuff because I think a lot of it's just a matter of getting started. But some of the benefits are, again, the connections you'll make, the opportunities you'll have, being able to organize your thoughts in a clear and concise way. A lot of these platforms, you're working in 60-second windows. Um, so I think that's something to develop, especially if you're not great with public speaking and things like that. This can accelerate that quite quickly. So give it a try, hit post, be confident, know it's probably going to suck right away for the first, I don't know, weeks, months, could be years in my case. Um, I'm still learning a lot. I am, but I think there's a lot of skills that you're not necessarily learning in PT school that you can learn through social media, like sales, marketing, um, building your personal brand, all that good stuff. If you want access to any of my resources as you navigate the clinic or as you're still a student at this time, Pocket CI Playbook is going to be the best place to start. So that's going to again have 6 lessons, 22 modules, everything that I wish I would have known as a physical therapy student, um, that I was expected to know in clinic, didn't learn in the classroom, thought would be super helpful. And obviously, so that's the thing that I'm trying to get out there the most. So feel free to check that out. That does include patient education scripts. I've got about 15 in there, and I've got upper extremity, lower extremity, and post-operative exam flows if that's something you're struggling with as well. You can get the scripts on their own for $49, or you can get the entire system, which includes the scripts for $99. So feel free to check those out. And if you want to DM me, I can hook you up with a discount code as well. But hope everyone's having a fantastic week, and we'll see you on the next one.